time is short. What is your life? It's even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. If someone had told me when I was 20 years old that life was very short and would pass just like that, I wouldn't have believed it. And if I tell you that, you don't believe it either. I cannot get young people to understand how brief life is, how quickly it passes. It seems like yesterday I was in school. Every one of us here has been given the same amount of time in a day. 1,440 minutes a day, 168 hours per week. The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they are 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we are passed away and cut off. 70 years God allows us. And it's interesting to me, with all of our medical science, we've never passed that magic mark. The average American male today lives 70 years and 4 months. The average female, 73 years and 6 months. More people live to be 70, but the average age of an American is still 70, as taught in the scriptures. Now, 70 years God allows us. Let's think a moment. What do we do with those 70 years? The first 15 are spent in childhood, and then 20 years we sleep. And then the last 5 years, physical limitations are curtailing your activities. They haven't curtailed mine yet, but my 5th year till 70 starts next year. Only 30 years left, and part of that time must be spent in eating meals, working, and figuring out your income tax, things like that. Now is the accepted time. The things we ought to do, the classes we ought to take, the books we ought to read, do it now. The family that needs you, spend more time now. Write that letter home now that you've been meaning to write. Money you ought to give now. Time for study, do it now. People you ought to witness to, do it now. Every time the clock ticks, it seems to say now. Today, if you will hear His voice. There may not be a tomorrow for you and for me, because there's a warning to time. Time is running out for all of us. Time is too short for indecision and vacillation. Do not halt between two opinions. Fools say that time is long. Every morning we have 86,400 seconds to spend and to invest. And each day the bank named time opens a new account for you and for me. It allows no balances and no overdrafts. If you fail to use the day's deposits, the loss is yours. Suppose all of our members tithe their time to witness for Christ, as we tithe our income for the church. Then there's the tyranny of time, and this is one of the problems with me. Time runs me. The schedule that I've tried to keep the last 6 months is the heaviest schedule of my entire life. I don't know how I got into it. I don't know how I ever accepted so many things, but I did. And somebody asked me some time ago at some university or seminary where I was speaking, they said, if you had it to do over again, what would you do? I said, I would study more and speak less. I have let people pull me to every type of thing in the world to speak, and I needed to be on my knees in my study. And I would say to the students, get all the education you can get. If I believe in the second coming of Christ. If I thought that Christ was coming back tomorrow, I wouldn't change one thing if I were you. I'd just study. If that's where God led you and you're in the will of God, study. But while you're studying on the side, study the Word of God for your own soul. Not just for classes, not just for grades. Fill your heart with the Word of God. I've found that those who know the Scriptures are the ones that have the power today.